Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Pichana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Chana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Chanaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Chanaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Chanaranjana Shodanandana Vraja Chanaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Vanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Srila Prabhu. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol, Nitai Gora Haribol. Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Haribol. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Acharya Sutta Satashamdasa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Go Premanande, Hari Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to this Balaram Katha. We are very close to Balaram Jayanti, the Transcendental Appearance Day of Lord Balaram, next Monday. So today we just like to hear about Lord Balaram's glories, and unfortunately I was not able to attend the other kathas the other days, but I heard we were hearing a lot of Balaram Leelas, kathas of the different pastimes. I also plan to speak of some of the pastimes, but I guess we will focus a bit more on Tattva, specifically on Balaram as the Adi Guru, or the original spiritual master. So we hear about a bit about Guru Tattva and try to understand how Balaram is the original Guru. So we'll try to speak about this topic, and for this I like to read from a text from the Bhagavatam. Let me see, which is Canto 7, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings, and this is text 44, 45. Yavan Rikaya Ratam Atma Vashopakalpam Dhate Karishta Charanaranaya Nishatam Gyanasim Achubhalo Dhatad Astasatru Svananda Tushta Upashanta Idam Vijayati. Translation. As long as one has accepted a material body with its different parts and paraphernalia, which are not fully under one's control, one must have the lotus feet of his superior, namely his spiritual master and the spiritual master's predecessors. By their mercy, one can sharpen the sword of knowledge, and with the power of the Supreme Personality of God's mercy, one must then conquer the enemies mentioned above. Mentioned above means text 44, which I didn't read, but this is the following. In a conditioned stage, one's conception of life are sometimes polluted by passion and ignorance, which are exhibited by attachment, hostility, greed, lamentation, illusion, fear, madness, false prestige, insults, fault-finding, deception, envy, intolerance, passion, bewilderment, hunger, and sleep. All of these are enemies. Sometimes one's conception are also polluted by goodness. But this whole list, these are the enemies, and by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, one can sharpen the sword of knowledge, and with the power of the Supreme Personality of God's mercy, one must then conquer the enemies that we just heard, this list of enemies. In this way, the devotee should be able to merge into his own transcendental bliss, and then he may give up his body and resume his spiritual identity. And I will read a part of it's quite a long purport, I will read a part of a purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada quotes Janma karma chame divyam evam yuveti tattadaha, that one should know Krishna and then return to him, go back to him. This is the highest perfection of life, and the human body is meant for this purpose. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-17. Nrideha madhyam sulabham sudalabham plavam sukalam guru karanadaram mayanukulena nabashvata teritam puman pavad bhim natarit sa atmaha. This human form of body is most valuable boat, and the spiritual master is the captain, Guru Karana Dharan, the guide, the boat in plying across the ocean of nescience. The instruction of Krishna is a favorable breeze. One must use all these facilities to cross over the ocean of nescience. Since the spiritual master is the captain, one must serve the spiritual master very sincerely, so that by his mercy one will be able to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. A significant word here is Achyuta Balaha. The spiritual master is certainly very merciful to his disciple, and consequently by satisfying him, a devotee gets strength from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Guru Krishna Prasadapaya Bhakti Radha Beach. One must first please the spiritual master, and then one automatically pleases Krishna and gets the strength with which one to cross the ocean of nescience. Like Guru and Krishna are like a team. By the mercy of Krishna we get Guru, by the mercy of Guru we get Krishna. That's the idea. If one seriously desires to return back home, back to Godhead, one must therefore become strong enough by pleasing the spiritual master, for thus one gets the weapon with which to conquer the enemy, and one also gets the grace of Krishna. And now, it's a very, very interesting point Prabhupada makes. Simply getting the weapon of jnana is insufficient. Like Krishna speaks the Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita is full of jnana, it's like a weapon that we are being given by the Lord, so that we can conquer Maya, that we can overcome illusion, that we can cut the knots of our attachments. But just to get that weapon of jnana is not enough. One must sharpen the weapon by serving the spiritual master and adhering to his instruction. Then the candidate will get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In general warfare, one must take up help from his chariot and horses in order to conquer his enemy. And after conquering his enemy, he may give up the chariot and its paraphernalia. Similarly, as long as one has a human body, one should fully use it to obtain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada gives another example, that a warrior maybe uses his chariots to fight. When the war is over, he gets off of his chariot. So similarly, we may use this body in the fight against Maya and then attain the highest perfection, and then we can give up that body. And then the Prabhupada makes the point that the perfection of knowledge is certainly to become transcendentally situated, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. And that one, Prabhupada says, then simply by cultivating knowledge, as the impersonalists do, one cannot get out of clutches of Maya, one must attain the platform of bhakti, And bhakti is only attained through the mercy of a spiritual master. And then Prabhupada at the end again repeats the same point. Significant in this verse are the words Gyanasim, Achyuta Bhala. Gyanasim, the sword of knowledge, is given by Krishna, and when one serves the Guru and Krishna in order to hold the sword of Krishna's instruction, Balaram gives one strength. Balaram is Nityananda. Vrajendra Nandai, Sachi Sutta Hoyle say, Balarama Hoyle Nitai. This Balaram comes with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both of them are so merciful that in this age one may very easily take shelter of their lotus feet. And then also Mukunda Upanishad is quoted, Nayam Atma Bala Hinena Labhyo, that one cannot attain the goal of life without the mercy of Balaram. Shri Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Nityera Karuna Habe Vraja Radha Krishna Bhai. When one receives the mercy of Balaram, Nityananda, one can attain the lotus feet of Radha Krishna very easily. Om Jnanidimidandasya Kinanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalang Pangam Langidekirim Yatkripadamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Balaram, that Bala is required. We need Lord Balaram's mercy, and as described here, I find it's a very nice picture. A weapon of knowledge. And I don't know if you ever gone to a museum and saw these middle-aged weapons, a sword or like a, how you say, mace or like a club. It's very heavy, it's like, I guess we wouldn't be really, maybe Dindayal, maybe he's trained. He's a martial art and art. He knows how to do that. But certainly I would have difficulties to hold a weapon. So what's the use? You get a weapon to fight, but don't have the strength to even hold a weapon. What to speak of actually using it properly. So that's why, yes, Krishna gives knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita and through many other sources. But then what to do with that knowledge? We also need the strength to apply that knowledge. And applying knowledge, of course, is much more important than, it's good to receive knowledge and understand, but then we also need to apply it. And that applying knowledge is Guru's mercy. We need Guru's mercy in order to apply knowledge. And we need, it's Guru who gives us the strength to actually live according to what we heard. And that's usually the most difficult part, because we know, yes, I'm not this body, I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, I'm meant to serve, but until the senses, they're attracted to the sense objects, we still have so many desires. So then how to actually apply the knowledge, that requires strength. And that strength comes from Balaram. That's the whole idea. And Srila Prabhupada also speaks about this in a lecture in Bombay, 75. The first expansion of the ultimate forms of Krishna is Balaram, Baladev. In the Upanishads it is stated, we already heard that shloka, Nayam Atma Bhala Hinena Labhyaha. Atma, the Supreme Soul, cannot be understood without being favored by Balaram. This statement is sometimes misunderstood to be referring to bodily strength. Atma, the super soul, cannot be understood with physical strength. Like, if you don't have show your muscles, if you don't have strength, you can understand God. So again, Dindayal Prabhu is in a very good position. He has physical strength also, but it is not required. It's good to have if you serve your Guru, as you do, but it is actually spiritual strength that is meant. But that's not the fact. Bala Hinena means that one who is not favored by Balaram or Nityananda cannot make any progress to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the real meaning. Balaram is Guru Tattva, and Balaram is presented in this age as Nityananda. So Bala Hinena Labhya does not mean without any physical strength. It means that one has to get the favor of Nityananda Prabhu. Or we can say it means spiritual strength. It means the strength that we receive from Guru. The mercy that we get from Guru. That is required. And without the Bala, without the mercy of Guru, we cannot understand Krishna. That's the idea. So we need spiritual strength, mercy, Kripa, Bala. So who can give us this Kripa Bala? It's Guru, the Acharya, which is a manifestation of that Balaram. So by that Kripa Bala, one can speak Tattva, one can, because one who has not received mercy cannot speak, and of course what to speak of applying that knowledge. We need this mercy of Balaram. And it's also described as Gurudev, or Guru actually has two types of Kripa, or let's say plays two different roles, or we can also say is a manifestation of different aspects of the Supreme, because in some way, as we said, Guru is a manifestation of Balaram. On the other hand, Guru is also known as Radha Priya Shakhi, like an associate of Srimati Radharani. So first of all, Balaram, Guru is a manifestation of Balaram. So he's Balaram, or means also Mula Shankarshan. We can also say, Paramatma, who resides in the heart. And so just by listening to many lectures, one cannot understand. So we need Balaram's mercy. So Paramatma sits in everyone's heart, and when we develop a desire to actually know Krishna, out of his mercy, that same Paramatma will manifest outside, in front of Guru. Jive Shakshat Nai Tahe Guru Chitya Rupa Shiksha Guru Haya Krishna Mahanta Swarupe. That Paramatma within, he will manifest outside. So when we take shelter of such a Guru, then we get Tattva. And this Tattva, first of all, is Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana means we understand who we are. Like Guru established that, makes us understand that we are actually having this relationship. That's why it says, Paramananda Brahmite Kona Bhagavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prashatapaya Bhakti Lada Bicha. We are wandering throughout the universe, up and down, and sometimes in a very elevated life and sometimes very degraded forms of life. But one who is very fortunate, Bhagavan Jiva, he gets the mercy of Guru and Krishna, of Guru first, of Krishna to get a Guru, and then Guru basically gives us this Bhakti Lada Bija, plants that seed of devotion in our hearts, and then we will be able to attain success in life. But if Guru is withdrawing his mercy, then what can we do? So by our own efforts, we cannot get transcendental knowledge. We cannot get Tattva Gyan. So how can we get it? By Guru's mercy, and also by the listening process. We need to hear from Guru. We need to hear from self-realized personalities, and absorb knowledge, and then try to get the mercy of Guru in order to apply. So that's one aspect, that Guru is a manifestation of Paramatma, and as we mentioned before, that Guru is Balaram, who helps us to hold that knowledge that we receive. But I also said that Guru is Radha Priya Sakhi. That means that he is a very close associate of Srimati Radharani. So we are worshipper of Radha Krishna. So who is Radharani? She who worships, loves, serves Krishna like no one else. That's Radharani. Like Radharani is the best servant of Krishna, and nobody has more love and devotion for Krishna than Srimati Radharani. And so who are Radharani's girl companion? The Sakhis, the Manjaris. what are they doing? They are actually not seeking the union with Krishna themselves, but they actually get pleasure by making arrangements that Radha and Krishna come together. That's what they want to do. No? And they're very expert in that. They are happy to see how Radha and Krishna are coming together, but without themselves participating. So this is also Guru. Every day we sing Nikunja Yuno Ratikeli Sidai Tibiryuk Tira Pekshaniyo Tatatridakshat Ativalabhasya Vande Guru Sri Choronoro Vindam. Let's get the proper translation. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis, who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha, Krishna, conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. So in this verse of the Guru Ashtaka, actually the identity of Guru is also explained. That like the spiritual master, he likes to assist the gopis. The gopis are with Krishna, but the manjaris or sakis, they are assisting the gopis. And as we know, many of our acharyas, like Rupa Goswami, who is actually Rupa Manjari, or Raghunath Das Goswami, who is Rati Manjari. So in this way, their eternal spiritual identity is one of the manjaris who assist Radha and Krishna. So Srila Gurudev is very happy to see the union between Radha and Krishna, and Guru is also Radha Preshta or Krishna Preshta, very dear to Radharani and very dear to Sri Krishna. So if someone is able to surrender to such a Guru by his mercy, his knowledge, Tattva Gyan, then he can actually attain Krishna. So directly we cannot get the mercy, Krishna's mercy. But when we accept such a Guru, by Guru's mercy, then we can attain the highest perfection. So that's one aspect. But as we mentioned, on the other hand also, Guru is also a manifestation of Balaram. Because Balaram, he's extremely enthusiastic to serve. That's another aspect. And when we look at Balaram's identity, then we can see how he always serves the Lord and is giving example how to serve the Supreme. So, in some way, Balaram is non-different from Krishna, non-different from Bhagavan. And Krishna, for his own pleasure, he expands himself as Balaram. And Balaram is the first expansion of the Lord, and from him the first, quadruple, this Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna are coming, and then also Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Kshiradaksha Vishnu. They all expand from this first expansion of Balaram, and basically there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram. Just Krishna is black and Balaram is white. Krishna holds a flute and Balaram a plow. But otherwise they are the same personality. Both are Bhagavan, but there is one difference, that Krishna, he's Sevya Bhagavan, and Balaram is Sevak Bhagavan. Sevya means he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is the Supreme Enjoyer, and he receives the service, and Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who gives the service. That's an interesting concept. No? So, Krishna himself, he expands himself to show how to serve him, because Balaram is the perfect servant. So he is God himself who shows how to serve God. That's that's why he's also Adi Guru, Guru Tattva, because the main duty of the spiritual master is to engage the disciples in the service. Also, we sing Shri Vigrahada Dhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Janyunchatopi Vande Guru Sri Charanararindam. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engaged his disciple in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances unto such a spiritual master. So, the main duty of a spiritual master is to engage his disciples in the service of the Lord. That's what the spiritual master is supposed to do. And Balaram, he is Adi Guru because he's always engaged in service himself and gives a perfect example how to serve Krishna. So, and how does Balaram serve? Well, there's many different ways how he's doing so. He, first of all, expands himself as the Dham. The Dham itself, the holy place, the spiritual world, is actually also an expansion, manifestation of Balaram. And the Dham, gives the place, all the arrangements to perform the pastimes for Radha and Krishna. Then also in Vrindavan he expands himself as Krishna's crown and flute and all the jewelries and everything. And in Vaikuntha he manifests as Ananta Shesha, and there he becomes the Lord's transcendental bed. And also he expands in his clothing, his shoes. So Balaram has such an enthusiasm to serve. He's always expanding and serving in this way and in that way. So wherever you look, there is Balaram in different forms serving the Lord. So he's always in that mood, and therefore he's Adi Guru, Sevak Bhagavan. He's God himself who serves the Lord. So if we want to serve Krishna, we need Balaram's mercy. That's obvious, because he's the first expansion of the Lord, showing that. And so this seva mood is also there in different pastimes. Look, like as Lakshman, Balaram also appears in this same mood. So although he's the source of Vishnu, what did he do? He always served. And an example is given here that when Lord Ram was, banned to the forest for 14 years, what did Balaram do? He immediately, was ready to. He went with the Lord to the forest. Why? To serve him. Balaram. Lakshman. He's the brother. With Sita we understand, because the time of marriage, man and woman, they are like one, and it's the woman's duty, it's her dharma to always serve the husband, and naturally she wanted to go with him, but the brother doesn't have such kind of commitment. From the point of dharma, there is no dharmic rule that says the brother must follow the other brother. But Balaram was so enthusiastic in the form of Lakshman that he went, and that also shows a true servant who always serves, not only on a sunny days, like when everything is easy and then I'm serving when everything is going fine, but even in difficult times also, just going through all kind of difficulties, but still always serving the worshipable Lord. And so that's another way how Balaram shows his enthusiasm in the form of Lakshman, always serving the Lord even in very difficult circumstances. So on this same Balaram, as we mentioned, manifests in this world as Guru, and Guru comes in this world to teach us how to serve Krishna. We develop a desire to enjoy our senses, and therefore we turned our face away from Krishna. That's what we spontaneously, when we speak of spontaneity, then our spontaneous desire is to go for sense gratification. Krishna Buli say Jiva Anandi Bahirmukha. Bahirmukha, we turn our face away from Krishna, forgetting Krishna, the living entity, has been attracted by the external feature from time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy, Maya, has given him all kind of miseries in this material existence. No? Because we have turned our face away from Krishna, that's why we experience suffering. So Gurudev comes in this world and he tries to turn our face again towards Krishna. No? I mean, of course, now the curtain is closed, but here is Krishna. Of course, here is Prabhupada, but usually it's in one way is Maya and one way is Krishna, and Guru tries to help us to again, turn our face towards Krishna and try to develop our relationship to Krishna. So if that Guru is happy with us, then Krishna will accept us. And if Krishna is not accepting us, what can we do? So we need Guru's mercy to attain Krishna. And another way to explain the importance of Balaram also in his function as Guru is the explanation of Krishna. Balaram, of course, in Vrindavan is very significant that actually Srila Prabhupada installed a set of Krishna Balaram deities in his main temple in Vrindavan, whereas all the major temples in Vrindavan have Radha Krishna deities in the center, and they are called, Radha Gopinath Temple, Radha Madan Mohan Temple, Radha Govinda Temple, Krishna Balaram Temple. Of course, it's Raman Reti, it's the place where Krishna Balaram and the Gopas were taking care of the calves and cows. But Prabhupada had a different reason also why he wanted to establish Krishna Balaram in the center. Because Krishna Balaram in this age, as we also heard, they appear as Shishigo Nitai. And Prabhupada knew that we need to establish this fact, especially among the Indians, that how can we worship Radha and Krishna without the mercy of Nityananda, Gauranga? So Prabhupada wanted to make this point also. That's why Gaunitai are also there, very prominently on the left side. And then on the right side, Radha Shyama Sundar. Of course, Radha Shyama Sundar still are very attractive and usually have the whole crowd on the right side. We shouldn't forget we need the mercy of Gaunitai and Krishna Balaram to finally get the mercy of Radha Shyama Sundar. And Krishna Balaram also is significant in another way. And this is beautifully explained by Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. He also established Krishna Balaram Mandir in Bhuvaneshwar, where it says that Balaram has a plow in his hand and Krishna has a flute. So what is the significance of flute and plow? First, cultivation is needed, karshana. Then all nasty weed-like things will be rooted out. The field should be cultivated properly with the plow of Balaram. Then the field of the heart, Hridaya Kshetra, becomes fertile, and the seed of devotional creeper, Bhakti Lata, may be sown. The field must not be barren. If you sow a seed on a barren land, it will never fructify. So that's the analogy here, that we understand that, okay, by the mercy of Krishna we receive the spiritual master, and he gives us Bhakti Lata, a beach, the seed of devotion, which we are supposed to plant in our hearts. And then this creeper of devotion can grow, but what if our land is not really cultivated, and how can that seed actually grow? So that's why cultivation of the land is required. Hridaya Kshetra, the land of the heart needs to be cultivated, and that's Balaram's duty, that's Balaram's job, and that's Guru. And Guru who is helping us with the Anartha Nivritti process. After proper cultivating Balaram's plow, when the land is fertile, then the seed should be sown. Then the seed sprouts and you develop Prema Bhakti. Then you will be attracted by Krishna's flute. The flute represents Akarshana, attraction. Cultivating the land means following the rules and regulations. Vaidhi Bhakti. The Guru will give you some do's and some don'ts Follow the rules and regulations, chant 16 rounds per day, etc. After proper cultivation, the unwanted weed-like things are rooted out, anartha upasana, and the field becomes fertile. Then the Guru will show this Bhakti Lada Bija. Under his guidance you will do Shravanam Kirtanam, you will hear Krishna Katha, and then you will develop Raga Nuga Bhakti. You will come to Raga Marg Bhakti and develop Prema under the guidance of that Guru. Then you will see Krishna, then you will get Krishna, then the sweet flute singing of Krishna, which attracts everyone, will enchant you. Akarshana is the ultimate thing, but first must come Karshana, cultivation. Karshana, Akarshana, cultivation and enchantment. This is the Krishna Balaram Mandir. I think very beautiful analogy, and especially also important in Vrindavan Dham, where we also have many Rasika Bhaktas, in a sense. I mean, yes, we strive for Raganuga Bhakti, but it was also Bhakti Siddhanta and Srila Prabhupada who very strongly emphasized, yes, Raganuga Bhakti, we are striving for that, Raga Marg, but we can't just jump, you know. We need first to be qualified. And as we understand, qualification means at least Nishta. You know, you have to be on the platform of Nishta to actually feel that spontaneous attraction to Krishna. And in order to reach Nishta, we need a serious practice of Vaidhi Bhakti, following the instruction given by Guru. And in this way, purifying our heart. So then, through this karshana, through this cultivation, then we will be able to actually feel that akarshana, that attraction from Krishna. So this is another way to explain how Balaram, with his plow, is Adi Guru. He is actually the original spiritual master. And our spiritual master is in that sense also a representative of Balaram, Nityananda. And therefore, if we want to become free from the slavery of our senses, from this misconception of the bodily conception of life, where we think that we get happiness and pleasure through the body, but when we actually receive the mercy of Guru, then we learn how to, you know, develop a higher taste, serve Krishna nicely, and then find satisfaction there, and ultimately we more and more develop this attraction towards Radha and Krishna, and then attain perfection of life. Hare Krishna. So these are some thoughts on Balaram as in the role of Adi Guru. Are there any comments or questions? Okay, there's, yes, please.
Thank you very much for the elaborate and rich katha on Balaram. Quite at the beginning you addressed the topic of getting knowledge, and it's compared to a weapon that we supposed to wield or to use. And you mentioned, like what to do if you have a weapon and you don't know how to apply it. So the application of knowledge, and you pointed out how this is working, or like we only need the guidance, instruction, or like the empowerment of the Guru in order to use the knowledge. And could you please elaborate a bit on that? Perhaps you have some own examples where you experienced like only you had a knowledge, perhaps, but like only through Guru. How does one imagine this particular learning how to wield the weapon?
Personal examples. Yeah, I mean, I guess we all can relate to the principle in general, that because we hear such elaborated, or how you say, like we like high philosophy, and often we hear things we know well that would be nice to be like that, do like that, but then we see there is a we are not yet on that level. So, but by Guru's mercy, in the sense also that Guru engages us in service, and gives us a chance to serve, like for example on the altar. By Guru's mercy, we get first and second initiation, and then we get a chance to go on the altar, and then we understand that actually I'm not qualified to directly worship Radha Krishna or directly worship Jagannath. But then we have a picture of Guru and we understand we worship Krishna through our spiritual master. And through the practical service that we do, especially on the altar, I personally felt it's a very beautiful way to realize more that we are actually servants. You know, we hear all the time, yes, you're servants of Krishna, okay. But then on the altar, you really, behave like the servant. Like you put a table, and yes, now we will serve lunch. And then you bring, please accept this food, and then, wash the table. And you're really like the servant, the personal servant of the Lord. And by being engaged in such service, then that realization can become more manifested. Of course, your question was more about spiritual knowledge. Yeah, I guess there's many examples one could give, but at the moment I can think of a particular situation.
The thought was on my mind when you spoke. I was contemplating, you said we might have the knowledge already. We have heard lectures, we have read books, so we got the knowledge. And you emphasized how the application of the knowledge kind of depends on the, let's say, mercy or like the influence of the Guru. And I was wondering a bit how to envision that. What exactly are you pointing to? So maybe if you have some other thought on that.
Maybe someone else has a good example, some realization on that.
Well, in one sense, it's a common principle in Vedic culture or generally. If anybody wants to learn anything, goes to teacher, and then this act of Gurudakshin is absolutely necessary in order to solidify the knowledge that one received. Otherwise, it remains theoretical. So Gurudakshin can take any form, any type of service or reciprocation. So, just a universal principle that the service has to go along with the teachings in order to understand even material subject matters, what to speak of spiritual.
Yeah, and it's also the principle of that's the whole idea also. Guru is also known as Sri Krishna Kripa Murti. He is like a manifestation of the Lord's mercy, and Krishna wants to give his mercy, and that mercy comes through the Guru. And Guru is also like very compassionate and wants to give us mercy, but in order to give us that mercy, Guru also needs to feel that we are, able to receive that mercy, and that we also please him. Like the more we are able to please Guru by showing our sincerity and serving him, then Guru will be, his heart will open and he will give more mercy. That's also quite natural. It's a very natural relationship. If you have somewhat, a distant relationship, or if you even displease your Guru, then it will be very difficult that this mercy flow can reach you. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Maybe one thought came to my mind of the famous example of Madan Mohan Malaviya. He's a very learned scholar, very prominent personality in India, and he came to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And he had so many questions. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj replied that he's at the moment engaged with something, and then his disciples will take care of him, welcome him, and just entertain him, and so. So then one of the disciples invited that big scholar to kitchen, actually, to help him a little bit in the meantime. And then he was also kind of engaged, such a big person, this and that. And then later on, when everything was done, then he came to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and he asked, do you have any questions? And he said, and then he replied very interestingly, he said, actually all my questions have been answered. And that this is what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was actually waiting for. And he said, yes, that's it, because Paramatma acted from within the heart. And by engagement in the direct devotional service, this is the way that knowledge is realized and transferred. So Srila Prabhupada also, so many times, I mean, devotees even didn't have a knowledge, like Brahmananda, he was going just go and print this, and go and open this, and go and do this. But just that desire to surrender, and this is actually through which everything else is manifested. Krishna then helps either from within or from without.
Mm. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to comment on the point of spiritual strength.
Close.
Oh yeah, closer. Yeah, spiritual strength. Balaram gives spiritual strength. Just remember, it is a couple months after I received my first initiation. I was in a line of devotees waiting to get a darshan of my spiritual master in order to ask a couple of questions, and it was very difficult to get because there were so many candidates, so many people in a line, and so I waited one day. Okay, I didn't fit into the amount of people received that day. Okay, I was moved to the next day, second day also, and the third day I was so desperate already. And then anyway, third day I received the darshan, and one of the questions I asked was, how can I increase my spiritual strength? Yeah, and the answer was, while chanting your japa, chant the name of Rama very attentively.
That's a nice answer.
It's something interesting.
Getting spiritual strength by chanting the name of Ram. That's something to remember. Thank you. Very pragmatic.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to share something on this point of how the Guru transforms your, what we're discussing now, your knowledge and wisdom. So, with me, I've always been having struggles with mechanical chanting and chanting per se. And since Guru Maharaj's departure recently, I felt this urge to take the shelter of the holy name more seriously. And so recently I started hearing more about the glories of the holy name from him in his lectures. And there he explains that we always hear attentive chanting, and that's something we even recite almost every morning. And he explains that how do you do attentive chanting? This is something we were discussing. It's through hearing. For example, if I am sitting here and you're talking with me and I'm not hearing, is that attentiveness? No. So attentive chanting is hearing when you are chanting. So that is how we see that we know that, okay, attentive chanting, but how do you attentively chant? That's something you receive from the Guru. And also, or even a simple fact of how Hare Krishna is the Mahamantra, and something as simple as that. And it was very beautifully explained by Guru Maharaj, where he said that he spoke about the Gayatri mantras and the Bija, etc. And he said that it's very beautiful how the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is just full of the names. And he was giving this lecture in South Africa. It was a seminar on chanting of the holy name. And he said that, who is the president here? And they said, President Juma or something. So can you just go and say, hi Juma, how are you? And everyone started laughing and they said, no, we cannot. So how dare we take Krishna's name? That's what he said. That's because Krishna is telling you can. And the Mahamantra is full of Krishna's name. And Krishna is letting you take his name like that. So that is why the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the Mahamantra. And the other Mahamantra is the Panchatattva mantra because it's just full of names. So for me this is something I knew, but this was another level of revelation where although I knew these facts, but to realize it once you hear from your Guru is just a different experience altogether.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think it's a nice point also in the sense that sometimes you have heard things many times, but if you get the personal instruction from your guru, then all of a sudden it becomes much more, has more weight, because you remember, you remember the circumstances, you remember how your guru told you personally, looked in your eyes, this is important, you should do like this. You have heard it before, but then it becomes more personal. And as we also know, with the instruction or the task that we are given, also the mercy is given to actually do that. That's also encouraging. Whatever instruction we get, we also get the mercy to actually do it if we are sincere enough. Yeah. You have some.
Little question. Thank you so much for the class. In the beginning, you mentioned how Balaram is. Krishna and Balaram, we just see this picture behind you. They are the same person. One is white, one is kind of bluish. But he is the servant, Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow I started to think of Lord Chaitanya, because he came to taste. He's also something a little bit similar, maybe not exactly. It's. And then I thought, well, Balaram is in the mood of Dasya and Sakya probably, as Lord Chaitanya was in a different mode. Anyway, just something came up to me like that.
Actually, that's interesting. Two things come to my mind. I mean, first of all, Balaram is also quite a unique quality. He is actually in relation with all the rasas with the Lord. Because he's sevak, he expends himself as an antashesha, as a bed or something. Then he's sakya, he plays with the gopas and with Krishna. Then also this Vatsalya mood is there as the older brother. And then, of course, Madhurya, when Krishna meets the gopi, then of course he doesn't take his brother with him. That, you don't do that. You don't take your brother with you. But in the form of Ananga Manjari, actually, who is the smaller sister of Radharani, he also is even there present. So in this way, Balaram has all the different rasas with Krishna, is in the relationship there. And another thing is that yes, the point you raised, that we have God, Krishna, who is receiving service, and we have Krishna who expends himself as a servitor to give service. That also shows that Krishna himself, he relishes this also. Krishna relishes to serve. And that's in a sense a similar situation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who actually, is Krishna himself in the mood of Radharani and wants to experience to be a bhakta. And that's also another point, that the position of a devotee is so glorious that even more glorious than the Lord in some ways, as we understand, that the Lord himself wants to be a devotee. He wants to appear as a devotee. And that's quite amazing, actually, when we consider, the position to be a servant of Krishna is so wonderful.
I heard from our spiritual master once said, same very point, that if it is good enough for God, it probably is good enough for you to be a servant. If God is relishing that position, then we should be confident that there is a lot of happiness and joy in there.
Yeah. Okay. The last question we take, then we.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. Except praying and willing and asking other devotees who already got the Guru, what should be how should I behave, what shall I do, or how shall I prepare, or how shall I search for a Guru, and what to do before you?
Very, very important question. How do I find Guru? Yeah, of course, there is the internet, we can go online. It's the ISKCON Desire Tree, you can listen to lectures of different gurus. You can go to Mayapur, if there is not a lockdown or something like that. You can try to meet different personalities. But actually, the best way to prepare yourself, or the best way to search for Guru, is by developing a strong desire. You know, and there is a famous interview with Srila Prabhupada. I think an Irish man is talking to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada speaks about the importance of Guru, and that man says, yes, Swamiji, but the difficulty is to find such a Guru. Quite stupid, you know, he sits in front of the Jagat Guru, of the Acharya, and he's asking the question, it's difficult to find such a Guru. And Prabhupada promptly says, no, the difficulty is with you. It's not difficult to find Guru. The difficulty is with you. Why? And Prabhupada quotes Ishvara Sarva Bhutani, Hridesh Arjuna Tishtati, no? That actually the Lord resides within the heart of every living entity, and you know, the body is just like a machine, and the living entity is moving there. But that machine it's actually moved by the Lord, and so if we have a desire to do something, to go somewhere, then Krishna actually helps us to achieve that. That's a general principle. So if we desire to get Krishna, if we desire to, and therefore get a Guru, then certainly Krishna will, you know, make arrangement that we get Guru. So that's the principle. The more we desire to have a Guru, then if that desire is strong enough, then Guru will manifest in front of us. Like it will be revealed to us. But the most important is our sincerity and our desire. If this is there, then it may take some time, we don't know, but it will come. But if the desire is not really there, not honest, not strong, then we may, you know, be misled also by, you know, pseudo guru, or you know, we don't really get what we actually need. Okay, last comment by Nanda Kumar Prabhu, and then we. But
I think I can relate to the question very much as well. When I also started reading and seeing devotees and practicing, it was very strong, and you want to do something. We are advised, and that Srila Prabhupada is our Shiksha Guru. It's like until we meet
yes.
Prabhupada's representative, and even when we meet Prabhupada's representative, a live Guru, still Srila Prabhupada remains an Acharya, a Shiksha Guru for all the devotees who are in this room, who are in another temples in ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada, and we can receive these instructions. So already you can cultivate that mood and service and knowledge and following instructions by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Then and eventually Srila Prabhupada's representative comes, and like that. Is that all right?
Thank you. Yeah, that's actually a very important comment, that we established that relationship to Srila Prabhupada. And I think it's also a nice prayer that we actually pray also to Prabhupada, that he may send his representative. All right, and of course that's also Balaram. No, Srila Prabhupada is certainly a manifestation of Balaram, Nityananda, who mercifully brought Krishna consciousness to the West. All right. Adi Guru Balaram Baladev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.